高野さん。
こんばんは。月の綺麗な夜ね、前原くん。
It was raining far too hard to see the moon. Takano-san unfolded an umbrella and smiled as she spoke. That smile was, for some reason, uncanny, like she'd seen right through me. Out of all the people I could have met, I got the sudden feeling that this was the one I wanted to see the least. That's kind of how I'm feeling, too.
こんな時間にどうしたのかしら。傘もささずに全身ずぶ濡れの泥まみれで。それは何？シャデル？
She'd come here via car. She wouldn't have known what I was just doing. And yet, she smiled as though she knew everything. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. She always makes that mysterious-looking smile, remember? Don't let her onto anything, lest you dig your own grave. With that shovel you got there.
噂じゃあなた、ゴルフクラブで野球に参加したそうだけど、そのシャベルも、つまりはそういうこと？
You know it.
傘の代わりってわけかしら？
Yeah, clearly it's not a very good one. I should tell a good lie here. If I could just do that, things would work out.
レナと宝探しにダム現場に行った時にこれを忘れてきちゃったんですよ。
I feel like that is one of those lies that might just get seen through. Whoops. I didn't mean to scroll, but yeah, like, because what if she talked to Rin and Rin says, oh, I haven't been, digging in a while. I don't know. That just... I feel like you could have done something a little more personal, like... I don't know. I left this at a construction... I don't know.
それをこの土砂降りの中、取りに行ったわけ？
We gotta come up with a better lie.
家を出た時は降るとは思いませんでしたので。
あら。
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's been raining for a long time. You're bad lying.
あなたずいぶん前から表にいるのね。
まあ、お月へ歩いてましたから。
それにしたって、あなた、向こうからこっちに向かってきたんでしょ？ダムとは場所も方向も。
Oh no. Oh, that was such a bad lie. Takano-san was clearly aware that... Oh, spooky music. Was clearly aware that something exceedingly abnormal was happening with me. And as she played her little word games, she was enjoying driving me into a corner. Maybe she had a vague guess, just from the situation, of what I'd been doing. My timing really sucked. To run into her, of all people, of all the times. At the very end, I could only be frustrated at my terrible luck. I'd done so much, and the end was literally right around the corner. So why? Why at the very, very end did I run into her of all people? What do you do, Keiichi Maibara? You're still holding something that could be a dangerous weapon. Will you silence Takano-san? Even if it would be simple to kill Takano-san, dealing with the car she'd come in afterwards would be an issue. I couldn't drive a car. It was completely different from a motorbike. But even if the car was here, as long as there was no proof I killed her... Yes. In tonight's downpour, without any prior planning, all by coincidence, a hit and run. As long as I didn't drop any handkerchiefs with my initials on them, they would never know I killed her. A black flame quietly smoldered and raged in the core of my body.
怖い顔。いじめすぎちゃったかしら？
Takano-san started to laugh by herself, then thankfully stopped talking about it. But the dark clouds in my mind didn't go away.
それはそうと、 いつまで自転車にまたがったまま地面に這いつくばってるつもり？そろそろどいてくれるかしら。
If I moved, she would leave. So I tried to get the bicycle up and out of the way, but then twisted my ankle in it and fell over. There was a sharp pain in the ankle I twisted. This is nonsense. A sprained ankle now?
あら、大丈夫？ひょっとしてひねっちゃった？
Takano-san squats down and takes a good look at the ankle I keep rubbing. She compares it to my facial expression, apparently trying to gauge how bad the wound was.
立てる？
I didn't expect to, but I couldn't even stand up. It was all I could do to shamelessly wriggle on the ground like a caterpillar. Takano-san looked at her watch, then at her car, and after thinking for a moment, opened the passenger seat door, and then gave me her shoulder to stand up with.
家まで送るわ。なんだか私が跳ねたみたいで嫌な気持ちだけどね。
Man, she's gonna keep talking to us on this car ride.
すみません。
見捨てるのも気の毒だし、私が優しい人でよかったわね。
This almost feels worse than Oishi. Nobody good has ever called themselves a nice person, but that would have been a terrible thing to say to someone holding me up like this. I took Takano's hands and sat down in the passenger seat. Takano-san went around the back and looked at my bike on the ground.
自転車は後日ってことにはならない？
I could clearly tell from her face that she thought it would be a pain, since it would be heavy and it would get her car dirty. But my bike has the name my bar written on it. I couldn't leave it out here like this.
なんとか車に詰めませんか？ないと困るんで。
トランクはもういっぱいなの。
With what, the other dead
後部
bodies?
座席なんかに積んだらシートが泥で汚れちゃうわ。まあ、あなたを乗せた時点でもう十分に汚れてるんだけれども。
I turned back to the back seat and see someone's folding bicycle there already. Still looked big enough to fit my bike in there as well. My expression reflected my thoughts, and the exact thought seemed to get through to her.
わかったわわかったわ。積んであげる。今夜だけはお姉さんも優しくしてあげるわ。
Takano-san continued with her mean jokes, but she hoisted my bike and loaded it into the back seat for me. The mean jokes were one thing, but couldn't she do something about that eerie smile of hers? What does she look like? That is a little more eerie, actually. And even more importantly than the bike, I didn't want to leave the shovel here. The shovel could be directly connected to the buried body and to me.
ついでで申し訳ないんですけど、シャベルもお願いしていいですか？
Takano-san gave me a clearly dubious expression.
シャベル？別にいいけど大事なもの？
No, but I like shovels. The more I talk, the worse it gets for me. That's how I felt, so I didn't force myself to answer her. Eventually, outlasted by my silence, Takano-san gave a short shrug and sighed.
はいはいわかったわ。
Spooky smiles.
僕はシャベルがないと困っちゃうんでしょ。そんな怖い目しなくてもいいわよ。
Takano-san brought over the shovel that was lying in the middle of the road. I clutched it like I'd never let go of it again. Takano-san watched me with a puzzled look.
じゃあ行くわよ。前原くんのお家ってあの前原屋敷でいいんでしょ？
Conveniently, yes.
なんでみんなうちのことを前原屋敷って呼ぶんですか？
だって現にお屋敷じゃない。お金持ちが羨ましいわ。
As she spoke, Takano-san pulled the handbrake and stepped on the gas. After making a skillful U-turn using the shoulder of the road, she steadily increased in speed. From the rearview mirror, that accursed place seemed to melt into the darkness.
慣れた？
すみません。よく聞こえませんでした。今、なんて？
Takano-san suddenly tried to say something to me, but thoughtlessly I didn't catch it. Looking ahead, Takano-san said the same thing one more time.
したい。
Oh!
上手に埋められた。
Ooh. Oh no! Well, I guess we're down to two things now. Either accomplice, or we're gonna have to kill her. I thought my heart might beat out of my chest, but I didn't let it show. But my lungs are squeezed tight, and I couldn't breathe.
何を言ってるんですか？
こういう山奥に死体を埋めるときはね、結構深く掘らないと野犬とかが匂いを嗅ぎつけて掘り返しちゃうことも多いのよ。野犬が加えてた人骨で事件が発覚。警察一帯を山狩りへなんて結構ないことじゃないのよ。
Pound, pound. Clang, clang. Huge rusted bells start ringing in my head. Had I buried it so deep that I could say absolutely it wouldn't be found? The answer was no. I was in such a rush to bury him and get it over with that I couldn't deny having possibly buried it too close to the surface. No, wait. That's not... Wait, anyway. This woman, how does she know? She had just passed by here in a car by coincidence. And we ran into each other by coincidence. If she'd been watching the entire thing from the trees, and once I left she came back in her car, that didn't make logical sense. So then, why? Keiichi Maibara, that's it. You need to kill her. My entire body reawakened, and I could feel my pupils dilate. I couldn't possibly beat her to death with a shovel in such a small car. Then I would use my hands and strangle her. But she was driving right now. If I strangled her, we might get into an accident. Then suddenly, Takano-san turned and looked at me.
ボケもツッコミもなし？
For a moment I was surprised. What was she talking about?
私たちあんまり相性は良くないみたいね。
Takano-san said, disappointed, returning her gaze ahead. I repeated the words she'd said a few times in my head, and finally realized she meant it as an off-color joke. I didn't know whether it was really a joke, but I wouldn't be able to fool her no matter how many lies I told. Right now, with her driving the car like this, I couldn't kill her. I would have an even harder time doing it when we got back to my house. That moment we met, that had been my best chance. And to have missed it so easily, it hurt. After that, Takano-san didn't say a single word. The car was completely buried in an almost suffocating silence. What kind of woman had I run into? With everything that had happened today, I managed to pull it off, and at the very end of it all, I just had to go home and go back to sleep. What bad luck. As my sleepiness gradually overtook me, the anxiety I felt steadily started to matter less and less. Is this alright, Keiichi Maibara? You probably should not leave this woman alive. Right now, I'm tired. she stepped on the brakes and I jerked against my seatbelt. That woke me up. I thought I must have fallen asleep by accident. I looked out the window, and there was a big building with faint lights on. It was really dark out, but I knew immediately it was my house.
今ご家族を呼んでくるわね。
Oh, no, 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 we don't need to
少しの
involve
間
them.
だけど、一人でお留守番できるかしら。
バカにしないでください。それにほら、もう大丈夫です。一人で歩けますから。
あらあら、さっきは痛そうな顔して肩まで借りたのに。ひょっとしてお姉さんに甘えてみたかったから。
As Takano-san spoke, she left the car and opened up her umbrella. The sound of falling raindrops was fierce, as always. I carefully reached down and rubbed the ankle I'd twisted. There was still some pain and a little weirdness, but they weren't that bad anymore. Rather than being happy about how light the wound was, I first regretted this whole thing. If I hadn't twisted my ankle, I could have still taken the option of killing Takano-san right then and there. There probably wasn't much doubt that Takano-san was convinced I was involved in some sort of crime. If she knew about everything happening with Satoko, then she might have even guessed I'd killed someone. Click. Takano-san opened the passenger side door for me.
本当に肩は必要ないかしら。もう一回だけ甘えてもいいのよ。
I ignored her and answered by getting out of the car by myself. The rain was still pretty intense. I got my bicycle out of the back seat. I was a bit curious who the other bike belonged to, but that didn't matter right now. I let Takano-san hold the umbrella over me, then pushed my bicycle up to the front door.
ありがとうございます。もうここまでで大丈夫です。
My ankle hurt so much earlier, and it still did, but it aggravated me that it hadn't even been that bad. What happened to the lantern, by the way? I noticed that didn't seem to get brought up ever since we started digging the hole. It was really seriously terrible luck.
じゃあ私はこれで失礼するわね。前原君と二人きりで夜のドライブだったなんて。みんな特に二郎さんにはね。
Jiro-san? Oh, she meant Tomitake-san. I suppose she calls him by his first name. His full name must be Jiro Tomitake then. And then the other bike, the folding one in the back seat, that I didn't care about at first, suddenly came to mind. Hey, excuse me, you're from Hinamizawa, right? On the day before yesterday, as I walked near the dam, half asleep, Tomitake-san had talked to me. And the bicycle he'd been riding, it was...
あの後ろに積んであった自転車、富武さんのですよね。
Takano-san's eyes. I think they sharpened for a moment.
どうしてそう思うのかしら。
以前に会った時見てますから。フレームも特徴的でしたし。
ふーん。でもおかしくないかしら。この自転車が二郎さんのものだなんてことありえると思う？
おかしいって。え？
I don't know if I like where this is going right here. Takano-san, her hair elegantly fluttering, peers into my eyes.
だってひなみ沢には民宿なんてないのよ。なら二郎さんは町に泊まっていることになるわよね。
そうなんですか？まあ、そうならそうなんじゃないですか？
町からひなみ沢まではとても歩いてなんか行き来できないわよね。バスだって走ってないし、せめて自転車くらいはなきゃね。
Is his body in the trunk? She didn't need to tell me that. That's why Jiro-san was riding a bike.
その二郎さんの自転車が私の車に積んであって、二郎さんは私の車に乗っていないなら、おかしいじゃない。二郎さんはひなみ沢で自転車なしってことになっちゃうわよ。二郎さんを放っておいて、自転車だけが私の車に積んであるなんてね。ありえないでしょ。
As she spoke, Takano-san made eyes like a hawk. Unfortunately, I didn't really understand what was so odd.
それの何がおかしいんですか？高野さんは富武さんとは仲がいいんですよね。何かのようで自転車を積んであげたって別におかしいことだとは思わないですけれど。
そうじゃないでしょ。つまりこのひなみ沢において二郎さんとその自転車がバラバラに存在することはありえないということなのよ。以上の理由からこの自転車が二郎さんのものであるわけがない。理解できたかしら？
I'll cut through those words. Takano-san's roundabout way of talking was hard to comprehend. But that eeriness I could feel, that vague dreadfulness, I didn't like it at all. But the most wild instinctive part of me warned me not to pry.
あれは私の自転車なのよ。二郎さんに選んでもらったからセンスが似てるのは間違いないけれどね。
あ、そうだったんですか。道理で似てると。
Oh,
私と
sorry.
今夜出会わなかった。
I'm super nervous right here. And now she was talking about something completely different.
何を言ってるんですか？
私とあなたは今夜出会わなかった。
I stayed there, not knowing what to say. And Takano-san repeated her eerie second phrase to me again.
私とあなたは今夜出会私とあなたは出会わなかった。
Agreed. Something cold and unpleasant crawled up my spine. I knew because I'd killed a person with my own hands before. I came to the conclusion that I had only one chance to beat this woman to death to keep her quiet, and I couldn't hesitate, so I could tell that she'd arrived at the very same conclusion. My instincts warned me again. I wish I'd never met this woman. The faint sense like a rotten smell drifting from this woman was no doubt the same sense that I was giving off right now. Might be the body in the trunk. The very peculiar aspiration, the lack of uncertainty at having taken a human's life for a purpose, one that only those who have risen above everything had. Actually, maybe I should have called it a nausea. It meant, and I didn't know how to explain this very well, but Takano-san was the same as me. In other words, someone who shouldn't have been here. Someone I couldn't have let anyone know was here. Someone who nobody would have wanted to see. And now that we had, we could calmly pretend as though we'd never met. Yes. Which meant that, just like I wanted to have nothing else to do with her, she didn't want anything to do with me either. And she, too, wanted to make it so that we'd never met. Both of us wished for the same thing. Our desires were the same, which meant Takano-san's suggestion was extremely practical, and that I couldn't outright refuse.
それでいいならそういうことでもいいです。
Whatever.
俺と高野さんは今夜出会わなかった。
そうよね。あなたにとってもその方がいいでしょうから。
どうしてそう思うんですか？
いちいちうるさいわね。
Oh, she's got the spooky eyes.
それくらい自分で考えられないの、坊や。
Boy, yeah. She cut me off with a condescending word, boy, right in front of my house, in a place most unsuited to killing. And yet, there was a frozen thirst for blood coming from both of us. I would be killed right here, right now. Yeah. And I should have definitely beaten her as we passed each other. A damp, greasy sweat broke out on my body. That's fine, if you want me. Then you can come any time. And when I made up my mind, she shook her hair elegantly and turned on her heel.
よかったわね。私が優しい人で。
What was good? How? Because she was a kind person? Was that it? I didn't get it. Takano-san got into her car. We didn't exchange any words of parting. I'd performed a massive feat, the killing of Satoko's uncle, and yet I didn't feel any accomplishment. On the holy night of Oyashiro-sama's curse, on which the taking of another's life was allowed, on the terribly rainy night when the demons wandered, as agents of Oyashiro-sama's will, the demons were never supposed to meet, but suddenly they did. The demons parted ways triumphantly. There was no reason for them to fight. Both their objectives had already been accomplished. With the rain hitting me like a waterfall, my eyes met with Takano-san's through the car's window. The female demon, her mouth twisted into a distorted, fearless smile. It was too late to kill her. Far too late. That first moment, the very first moment we saw each other, had been my best chance. And now that we had parted like this, I was acutely aware of it. I should not have let her live. She beeped her horn quickly. Then her car drove away into the Dulge. How do you say that? Let's take a listen. Deluge? Deluge. A severe flood. The one woman who knew what really happened tonight disappeared into the dark. As long as she was alive, this night would never really end. Just get into an accident, I thought to myself. In this downpour, slip on some mud or something and fly face first into a tree and die. That wasn't a delusion, a wild flight of fantasy. It was an earnest wish. Yes, it was a command. Die. Die! And keep your mouth shut for eternity. Because I have no doubt you're wishing for me to die all the same. My curse upon her faded emptily as Takano-san's tail lights disappeared into the utter darkness. Her car's lights were completely out of sight now. Even the sound of the engine faded into the sound of the heavy rain, and was inaudible now. I too turned on my heel, to draw the curtain on this insane night, to open my front door and end it all. I began walking towards the front door. I was covered in mud, and I made a squishing sound with every step I took. Squish. Squish. Don't worry, Keiichi, my bar. Squish. Squish. She'll die. Squish. Squish. Her end will be as miserable as she is. I'll throw her into some flames alive and let her dance until she's burned to a crisp. I'll burn her to ashes in the fire of hell itself until she's roasted as much as she deserves.
そう願うぜ。本気でな。
Squish. Huh? Just now, I hadn't taken a step. And yet, a footstep Without emotion, I turned around. If there was a footprint that wasn't my own, then it was obvious someone else was behind me. Was someone else there? I was sick of this. Whoever it was, I was sick of everything tonight. This time, I would kill them. I'd kill them without a second thought. I wouldn't hesitate to turn around and dig another hole. Marsh. But fortunately, there was nobody there. I wasn't going to have to kill any more people tonight. This night, I couldn't handle any more of it. Even if I heard an extra footstep each time I stopped, I put it down to me just being tired. Of course it is. You don't have like any creepy friends that just creep on your house or anything like that. Oh, man. I'm finally relaxing. Like, I've been tense for like the past, I don't know what, half an hour? And when you sit there with your arms all like, tensed up the whole time, they get really tired. And I kind of feel exhausted too. I mean, to be fair, this was a pretty long compared to usual recording session. But like even without the long recording session, I just feel exhausted after that. Okay, let's finish up. Fire from hell. Marsh.
はい、もしもし。救急ですか？消防ですか？
消防です。
火事ですか？事故ですか？落ち着いて話してください。
That's why I need the fire department, you idiot.
多分火事だと思います。こちらは中部高速の下級地サービスエリアなんですけどね。裏の山からなんだかすっごい火と煙が。
Someone in a barrel burning?
あんなところ誰も立ち入らないからなんで火がついてるのかよくわかんないですけど、とにかく連絡した方がいいと思って。山火事にならないとも限らないし。
Don't worry, it's raining.
わかりました。すぐに現場を確認しますので、そちら様のお名前とすぐに連絡のつく電話番号、それから火災現場の詳細な場所をお願いします。
消防司令部より通達。G ブロック西側山斜面にて不審火の通報あり。街道から離れていることからカップルの焚き火か不法投棄のゴミに放火したかの可能性があります。現場は深い森林地帯。周辺に民家はないが延焼の可能性あり。直ちに現場を確認されたし。
消防署ですか。こちらは G ブロック第3消防分隊です。通報の現場にさっき到着。ドラム缶が一つ山中に放棄され。
Yep.
火は鎮火しつつあり、延焼の可能性はなし。で、
Oh, yeah, well.
ドラム缶の中に多分人じゃないかと思う。
Yeah.
人らしきものが灯油か何かで焼かれたという感じで。
Yeah, it was pretty horrifying, actually.
その警察の人にも連絡した方がいいんじゃないかと思いまして。間違いねえよ。これ人だよ。
Alright. This definitely doesn't end here, Keiichi.
今年のたたりってことっすかね。
そういうことになるんですかね。毎年いろんな殺し方を見せてくれますが、今年は特に際立っていますね。
自分で自分の喉をかき破るなんて普通じゃないっす。
Who's clawing out their own throat?
あとは鑑識のじいさまに任せましょう。きっと
Was
何
it
か
the barrel
の
guy,
怪しい
maybe?
薬物を検出してくれるに違いありません。
お疲れ様です。お疲れ様です。
ああ、おいさん、小宮山さんたちが到着しました。
大石さん、お疲れ様です。
今年は一等来てるのが出たらしいじゃないですか。
裏を書かれました。私はてっきり今夜死ぬのは北条哲平だとばかり思ってたんですがね。
It's a good thing he didn't.
仏は何者です？
富武次郎。
Oh
年
my
に何回か
god.
ひなみ沢に来てる
Who
趣味
would
の
have
写
guessed?
真家さんです。
He died again.
ノーマークだったな。
どうなんでしょうね。北条宅にずっと張り付いてたのがバレてターゲットを変更したとか
かなあ。恨めったな。
で、北条哲平の方は何も問題なし。
ねえ、夕方頃に娘が祭りに出かけて、その少し後にバイクで出かけまして、
Probably drunk in a ditch somewhere.
先に娘が帰ってきて、あれまだ帰ってないかな。どっかで飲んだくれてるのかな。
大石さんいらっしゃいますか？高杉課長からです。1号車の無線にお願いします。
Oh no, don't cliffhanger it like that. Oh man. Kate, you screwed up bad. Alright, well, that is going to be the end of it. I'm sure that was very enjoyable for some of you. That was exhilarating. And I kind of almost wish that was a stream, because that would have been a good stream. Oh well. Let me know if you guys know of any good stream opportunities coming up. I might be able to make something happen, because that would be fun. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, though. I definitely did, and I'll see you next time, where we, I guess, see the aftermath of everything that happened. Bye.